Hey, what's up? It's Trey from MBTV, and today I'm starting a new series. Before I believed that I was INFJ, I believed that I preferred INFJ, I actually started my channel, Trey Pearce, making videos about being an ENTJ, or preferring an ENTJ. Actually, back then it was being an ENTJ, but I used to make these occasional rant videos where I had a lot on my mind, and I would talk about some issues that I thought existed and kind of give a mindset to others on ways to look at things and handle things. And for the most part, these mindsets or these approaches are helpful to both you and the people around you, and they're very beneficial to everyone. So I try to make these ideas pretty easy to understand. I think I communicate them pretty well, but I think you leave understanding what I'm trying to accomplish. And it's really just from stuff that bothers me. And, it took me a while to realize some things. And I've had Damon around, so I've had a lot of conversation where I kind of pull out ideas. He pulls out his ideas and really stimulates mine. And so I've had a lot of thoughts recently about this. And so we're going to make a new series where I just talk about this kind of stuff, just like I used to on Trey Pearce, because I know that a lot of people like those videos. And if you want to see those, I can put them down below in the description so that you guys can watch some of those old videos. But in this video, I'm going to be extending off of the topic that I've talked about before, which is, in the previous videos, they were all about, assuming things about other people. A lot of things that I had talked about had to do with the dangers of looking at someone else and saying, oh, I understand you well enough that I know what you're going to do, I know how you're going to behave. And when you do that, you're supplying your own ego, and you really blind yourself from a lot of truth and a lot of relationships. And you really just start to believe in yourself and never believe in the people around you, and never recognize that there are people around you. It's really dangerous to believe that you understand people well enough, because you start assuming things when you couldn't get to know people for who they are, and you really blindside yourself. If you want to hear more about that, before the video starts, you should go ahead and pause this, and if you're watching it on the playlist, it should be the next video. So go ahead and click on the next video, and or I can just put it as the first one, and then you guys can watch that. Then come back here. But if you've already seen it, or you think you've already seen it, then just go ahead and stay here and watch this one. So the issue that I was talking about before with assuming things about other people and the issues that come with it, the issue that I have with that extends beyond that, because I can look at somebody and I can, assume things about you and who you are and stuff like that, but you don't know why those people are where they are. You don't understand. Like, you may look at somebody and say, well, you do this and you do that and you do this and you're this type of person, but you don't know why they are who they are. I even had a video where I talked about wearing glasses, that you could see the actual person for who they are. And in that concept, you understood all of where they came from. You understood why everything they did, why they do it. A lot of people don't even know why we ourselves do it. Like, why do I do what I do? I try to figure that out all the time. But a lot of people don't even know that, and don't even try to know that. And so to be able to understand someone fully, you would understand why they are where they are. So you wouldn't necessarily judge them. You would have understanding. And that's one thing. But it goes a step further. When it comes to people, a lot of times we can recognize that we are above someone else. And when I say that, I mean it in an understanding way. Like, I understand why people do this. It makes sense. If you have reached a point that someone else hasn't reached. Like, just as an example, let's say in sports, which I don't do sports, but let's use that as an example. Let's say someone in sports is like really good, went to state, just killed it, man. I don't know because I don't do sports, but just let's say they did like really, really good in sports and they have so much that they know. And then they take somebody else that just jumped into whatever sport it is, like basketball or wrestling or football, whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is, this newcomer shows up and there's like a certain like, I'm up here and you're down here feel. And that happens with all kinds of different walks in life. Like, you know, even in religion, sadly, people will be looked at like, you are not holy, or you have these issues and I don't, so you have to learn from me. Now, the thing is, the problem with that is that you, like I said in the previous video, you don't know where those things came from. You don't understand what things happened in their life to cause them to be where they're at now. You understand the behind the scenes in that individual's life that caused them to be where they're at. Like, for example, the reason that one person was so good in sports, was so good in everything that they had been in so far, was because of many things that you probably won't even know. The way that they were raised, the kinds of opportunities they were given, you know, some childhood issues that they may have had. Like, you have no idea what caused them to be where they're at now, why they're so good in sports. You have no idea. But so what I'm saying is, when you take that person and you take another random person's shoes, it's very likely that they would have done the same thing. I'm not saying that that's the case, because I know that people are different on a fundamental level, where even if you were to live the life of someone else, doesn't mean that you would be the same person. So when it comes to one individual being up here, so good at their sport or whatever it is that they're doing, and someone else being down here, it's not right to look down at that person and say, oh, you don't know where, you know, really you should respect it as an equal. Because let's say they're the same age, right? Let's just equalize it for a moment. Experience right next to each other, but this one has this much money, has this much success in life, has a wife, kids, like everything that this guy wanted, and this guy down here has nothing he wants. But their experience, even though it may be the same amount of years, may be different experience. And so or different experience. And so it wouldn't be in sports. Maybe he has a whole other aspect of something else, right? But the idea is that you can't look at someone and say, you know, I have better experience. That's basically what you're doing, is saying I have better experience. Someone may have more experience, build up with, have all of these things that have happened to them and all of these things that they've done that kind of build into who they are now. Or they may have only had a few things that made a big impact on them. I can't look at you and I can't, you are trying to be where I am, even though that's the case, even though you may be looking for the skill level that I have. For example, I'm just using myself as an example. I don't even know what my skill would be. But let's just say I look at somebody else and that person looked at me and said, oh, I want to be where you're at. I may have more skill in my expertise, but it means nothing, because a 80-year-old man, all the wisdom and experience and understanding in the world, and a 20-year-old man can come up and they can talk to each other, and the 80-year-old man can respect where the 20-year-old man is, because the 80-year-old man has been 20 before. And it's not even that he has been 20 before, it's that he has been at that level before. And the 20-year-old man can look at the 80-year-old man and say, I respect you for where you're at because you have this much experience. The 20-year-old man can look at the 80-year-old man and understand where he's at and say, all the experience you've had, whether it be a lot or a little, it's more than me. And so I can look at you and I can say, you are, I respect all the time that you've had to go through all the experiences you've had to have to get where you're at now. But the 80-year-old man can look at the 20-year-old man and the 80-year-old man have more, the 80-year-old man may have more experience than the 20-year-old man, but he can still respect that 20-year-old man is at a place in his life that was similar to the 80-year-old man. The 80-year-old man can look at the 20-year-old man and say, I have been in your position before, and when I was in that position, there wasn't anything else I could do. It's not like I am better than you, because I was there once too. And regardless of whether or not I was there when I was 10 or I was there when I was 30, it doesn't make a difference because I was there. And even if he wasn't there, different experiences shape different people. You start at a certain place in life. You are, let's just say, you drop down on earth, just some random place you were born. That place, you are born, and now the rest of your life unfolds around you. And then you start to become an active agent of change in your life. And so everything that you do impacts your life. Now, when you're younger, it's not so much. You don't really have much of an impact on your own life, and there's nothing you can really do with where you were placed. But it doesn't matter, because the idea is all of us have been brought in out of some position. We have all been brought into a certain space and time. And on this planet, we will have different experiences because of different places we are. And eventually, we will all die. We are all going to live our life, experience things, learn a lesson. It doesn't matter if you were birthed into this existence and then learned no lessons until the day you died, and then you learned one lesson. And if that's the case, and you learned one lesson the day you died, at 94 years old, that would be 94 years of life. And you only learned one lesson, it's not a life wasted. It's still a life, because you were put in a position. And it doesn't matter if you were stubborn or what made you stubborn. There are things behind people that you can't see, that you can't understand. And so I cannot look at somebody. And just think, here's a really great way to put it. If you think about different cultures, and you think about the way that these different cultures operate, I may be in one culture, and I may look at, like, let's say I don't want to give an example. Let's say I'm in one culture where I believe this is right and this is right. Like, okay, I will use examples. I think it was the Japanese, ancient Japanese culture. And you take American culture. The American may look at the Japanese character and say, or the Japanese person, and they may say, I watched you kill this person. He was your brother. And you can say, that is so wrong, right? And that's the American man that says that. But the issue with this is, the Japanese man had that ancient Japanese culture. There was a beauty in death, like in the honor of fighting next to somebody, in the honor of fighting. And the thing is, there's like the shame in losing. If you went into battle and you lost, then how could you return? the thing is, there was something beautiful about, sorry about that. There was something beautiful about having the honor of taking someone's life. And that's what it was. And there's some movies that portray this, and I'm really trying to extend off of that. But there was an honor in that. But the American man can look at him and say, "That is horrible. What are you doing? How could you even do something like that? Like, that's your brother. That's, you've affected so many lives." But really, it was an honor for him to kill his brother or whatever. So what I'm trying to point out is that these two different people have these entirely different positions. One was born in America, and he had a rough life. The other was born in Japan. He had a rough life. They were entirely different lives, though. The kind of roughness that they had was entirely separate. But when one looks at the other, they can say, "That is wrong. That is so wrong of you." And the other person over here can say, "What do you mean? This is the most, like, I am humbled. Like, I have risen to a position that I never expected to get to. It's beautiful." And one can look at the other and say, "That is wrong of you." But the thing is, when it comes to all this as individuals, the key is to recognize that somebody else's life and where they're at is because of everything they've ever been through, all the experiences, all of their perspective, everything. And it comes together into one individual's life. And when you respect that person for what they've done, for being in the life that they have been, just because you're in a certain life does not mean that it's any better than anyone else's. You're still going to die. And so will they. Everyone here is going to die. And so, except Chuck Norris. But what if I said that and then Chuck Norris died? Anyway, that would be a true legend. If I did that, I'd become a legend. Anyway, so I guess what I'm trying to point out is that all of us have lives. Every single one of us have lives. And just because one may have achieved more than the other does not mean anything. It may mean that one individual can learn from the other, but this person taking pride and saying, "I am above you," it removes their actual achievement. This is a hard thing to explain. As an individual, if you've achieved so much, then you're prideful and you say that other people can learn from you, and maybe that's true, but if you have a pride that comes with it, then you have removed the significance of what you know. Because truly, it should be an honor for you to even know the other person. Even if you have all the experience in the world, it should be an honor to meet another individual who has gone through other experiences. Now, I want to make sure that this is understood. When I make the comparison between the 8-year-old man and the 20-year-old man, I'm not saying that the 8-year-old man has more or less experience. Because you can live 100 years, you can live 20, and the 20-year-old man can have more experience than the 8-year-old man. Even though they've lived in the same time frame, the 100-year-old man could have lived in his house his whole life. 20-year-old man could have been destroyed by the world and torn down and broken. So their experiences have been, the 20-year-old man had more experience than the 100-year-old man in that case. So I'm not saying that the older people have more experience than the younger people. What I'm saying is that people have different levels of experiences in different stages of their life. And so for me, even if every measurement you could consider, even if I do better than the other person, it does not mean that I have the right to assume myself as better, because I have been blessed with my experiences and all the things that have happened around me. It doesn't, like, my experiences, my mind, the way it works, everything that goes on, it has created who I am now, and all the other experiences combined with that will create who I am in the future. And so when it comes to another individual, I can't look at them and just because they don't have the same experiences, give them crap for it. So, and it's not that some people are blessed with better experiences than others, even though that may be true. Some people experience seemingly better things. You can't even necessarily measure something as better, because one thing can be better, and when you say better, it can be happiness and joy and love and peace and hope and all kinds of amazing feelings, but the other person can say they had a better experience, and it was all filled with pain and torture and sadness and death. But the reason that this person would say that theirs is better than the person who lived a happy, joyous, loving life was because this person learned so much from all of what they've experienced. So you can't even necessarily measure whether or not one person's experiences were better than the other. I can't say that even if my life has horrible experiences and I learned so much and it made me rise above some others in a sense, when it comes to success and all kinds of other things, it doesn't mean that I am better at all, because you can't even measure what better experiences are. Are bad experiences good, or are good experiences good? See what I mean? The bad experiences can be good because it teaches you good lessons. And the good experiences can be good because it gives you good experiences. But the issue is both have negative sides. The bad is that you have to experience that pain for so long to get where you're at now. And then the good is that you lack the experience, and when something bad does happen, you think that everything's gone wrong. Not that it's gone wrong, it's just that it's always gone right. So it's really important when you're living your life and anybody around you is seemingly better or less, to treat them with the same respect as you would yourself. To see somebody else and really see another person with a whole other life of experience that you have no clue what it is. Remember the 90-year-old man or the 94-year-old man that lived a experienceless life, or he lived a life full of experience and he only learned one lesson? That man and his life should be appreciated. And you should understand that he couldn't change that. I mean, his mindset and the way that he approached things and his experiences and the things around him, the setting, all of that came together to create his life. And just because he only learned one lesson, it does not make his life any more or less significant because he lived his life the way it did. That won't ever happen the same way. And the life itself of never learning anything was because of the conditions he was put in. So the thing is, when it comes to your life, whether good or bad, whether you have negative experiences or whether you have positive experiences, it doesn't matter, because it's like a gift. It's like you've been given this life and you're going to experience it just the way you're going to experience it. And nobody else is going to experience it that way. Nobody else is going to have the same thoughts, the same way, and for the same reason that you do. No one's going to look the same, not just physically, talking about their whole personality. Nobody is going to be you or have your experiences. Even if you have twins that have been put in a cell, okay, a container, and they both do the same things in that container, the way that things happen, they're going to be different. There's going to be something about them. Like, for example, they may come out of the cell one day and meet each other face to face. And maybe even because of the time delay between the two people, the second or two time delay that it took to get one baby out from the womb faster than the other. It may have caused them to start processing in a different way. Like I can't even explain what I'm trying to explain. It doesn't even make a lot of sense. But the idea is just because of a small time delay in their existence, small time delay in their birth, it can cause a whole different mindset. And that small time delay can get one to see the other first and think something that the other wouldn't. And then that causes the face he makes or the expression he makes because of that would then cause this one to think something else. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have someone that's exactly like you. That was a really weird explanation. It was kind of pointless. But the idea is you're not going to have someone that is like you ever. And your life is its own beautiful art. You can look at a painting and it can speak to you. But just imagine this. You can look at someone's life and it can speak to you. I can look at that 94-year-old man and I can get so upset that he didn't learn a single lesson. And I could watch that. Like, let's say I was in a movie theater where time was frozen for me and I could watch his whole life. And I watched his whole life. And I could just feel all this pain of why he didn't learn any of the things that happened to him. But the thing is, if I watched his whole life, and I wouldn't fully understand because I don't have his brain, but I would understand a lot of the reasons why he didn't learn because of the people around him, people that surrounded him. And the thing is, I can look at that and I can say, I will never do that. But then even then not, okay, that's too conceptual. Sorry. I'm not going to go there. But the point is, looking at someone and looking at their life, it can speak to you in such a way. And the thing is, you don't know a lot about people's lives. It should make you curious. You should want to get to know people because there are things about their lives that you have no clue about. And if 99% of their life may not speak to you, but that 1% or that 0.1% or that 0.00001% may speak to you, and it may reveal some incredible insight to you. The thing is, everybody's life is like an art form. It's like life is an art form, and your life is its own painting or its own experience. And so when it comes to you and your life, the way that you live it and everything like that, it shouldn't be like, even if someone else is prideful and recognizes that they're even if someone else has a lot of experiences and they look at somebody and they are prideful because of their experience, and I'm a third person to this and I see all this happening, even me looking at him and going, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do what you're doing right now. That is wrong. Because regardless of whether or not it makes any sense, regardless of whether or not he should respect the other individual, or regardless of whether or not I respect the other individual, the reason that I have come to the conclusion that I should do what I do, which I haven't even fully integrated yet. I have not been able to integrate this. I'm just realizing it now, and I'm sharing it. So this is a journey for me and anyone else who wants to join. You, watching this video, may disagree with everything I'm saying. And it may be that you're in a different place in the journey, whether or not it's, and I can't even necessarily measure if you're ahead of me or if you're behind me, because the thing is, our lives and the way that they're measured are entirely individual. The way that you measure one's life, you cannot measure it with another person's life. You have to measure it with their life only. That's the only way to measure someone's life, is through their life. There is no universal standard to you. You can't. And so when it comes to me looking at this third party, this group of people and seeing that this person is prideful of their experience and looks down on this one, I can't look down on him for looking down on the other person because he's in a different place in his life. It's not the, he may be further ahead of me. He may be ahead of me, but the thing is, that doesn't even make sense. He can't be ahead of me because it's not a race. We're people. We're individuals. I can't look at him and say that he's doing better things or he's doing worse things and set him on a bar. I can't do that. People don't work that way. People are the bar. They move throughout their life and their experience and all the things that they realize and understand and come to and start to do. These are all things that are individual to the person. And I can't use my life as a comparison to somebody else's. It just doesn't work. The way that life is supposed to operate. This is why people have trouble with the meaning of life. I can't even tell you that you're supposed to respect others. I can't even tell you that you are supposed to do this, because really, the reason I'm making this video now is because of the place of my life that I'm in. And for me to tell you that you're supposed to follow my life, in my life, that's not going any higher. That's moving backwards. For me to tell you that you should live the life that I do or take on the morals that I do, that is wrong with me. It's moving backwards for me. For someone else, that may be moving forward. The thing is, we're on different scales. We're on different bars. Totally different scales. Can't be related to each other. So I can't even tell you what life is supposed to be, because the way that I live life is a unique experience, and where I'm at on my bar is where I'm at on my bar. Age is actually a really great way to measure an individual's life, but not compared to anyone else's, just compared to my own. Because right now, where I'm at in my life is the November 6, 2016 mark on Sunday. That's where I'm at. I'm at 3:52 p.m. The experiences that I have and the understanding I have and all of that, for where I'm at the 18-year-old mark. I'm at the mark that I'm at. I can't tell someone else, like I said, I can't compare. I can't look at somebody else and go, oh, yeah, you should be where I'm at. No. Maybe he's supposed to do that when he's 97. Maybe it's supposed to be in October. But for me, it's supposed to be now. That's why I'm making the video. It was 2 days ago when I had the beginning of this thought, and I've been working on it. Making this video, where I'm at right now, it's where I'm supposed to be at. Now, you can do things that affect this, but the thing is, you as an individual, that's just you being you. And so, time is I still have an issue with the measurement of time for an individual's life. And that's that, do I have the ability to change and affect it so I don't have to go through experience so slow? Can I skip 10 years ahead of my original time? Or was I meant to skip it in the first place and it's really not skipping anything? It's just, like, let's say I learned 10 years of experience in a month. Was I supposed to do that? Because the scale changes for each person. Was I supposed to have 10 years of experience in a month? Was it supposed to speed up that much in that small time frame? Or was I supposed to go on and live 10 years and I just somehow skipped it? So really, the measurement of time has an issue with itself as well. I can't really use a measurement of time. I would love to bring in the theory that time is an illusion, but I have no idea. I don't have any information about that, so I can't even explain that. But I'm pretty sure that if Damon was here right now, he could explain the illusion of time and how you can't even measure time because time doesn't exist. But I don't know that theory and I don't know that idea, so I can't share that with you. But if there's anything I would like you to take away from this, I mean, I don't decide what you take away from it. You can take away something else. You could say this video is horrible and I would understand that it makes sense. It's not horrible for me. It may be good for others. It may be bad for some. I may look at this myself in a few years and be like, what am I talking about? I am so wrong. The opposite is true. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a curious thing. So if I wanted you to take anything away from this video, I guess if I took anything away from this video, let's do that. If I took anything away from this video, it's that when I look at somebody else, I should never measure them. Before, it was about judging them. It was about, really, it's not even about measuring someone. It's about understanding someone's inherent worth. And that comes from their experiences and how much experience they have in their lifetime. I don't know. They could be 10 years old and have the experience of 200. I don't know. You know what I mean? They may be way ahead of their time. Doesn't matter. I'm supposed to see that every individual is weighed by a different scale. So that means they have their own inherent worth. That can be comparable to other people, but it wouldn't mean anything because they still have growth of their own to go through. So it can't be compared accurately. It can be compared if you put yourself in a ignorant state. You can compare other people, but something that I took away from all this is that I'm going to try my best to look at somebody else and see them for their worth. I can't. I mean, really, I can't. Because I can recognize that all the things that they've experienced gives them worth. That's all I have to recognize. I don't have to be boastful of my own abilities because I have certain experiences, because I live a certain life. She's wrong. I should look at somebody else and recognize where they're at. And never judge someone because of what I can see, or even what I know. Let's say I even knew their whole life. I still can't necessarily say they have some kind of worth. Even if I knew everything about them, even if I knew the way they thought, I couldn't measure their lives because I would be comparing it to something. I would be comparing it to my life or things I've seen from others. I would have to compare his life to his own life. And if we're doing that, they're perfect because there is no difference between them. You could take someone that's rich and someone that's poor and you can compare their lives. Many people would say that the poor man has more than the rich man, but even more people would say that the rich man has more than the poor. But that's because you're comparing two lives. You don't do that. You compare one life to itself, and there is no difference. There are no numbers in between. It's just like in math, right? There is no difference between these two numbers. The difference of these numbers is nothing. That's how it is with people. You can't say there's a difference in your own self. If you find a difference between you and yourself, congratulations. Besides a few words like you and yourself has an R-S-E-L-F afterwards. But besides that, if we're actually taking the two people and we're comparing them, if I'm taking you and comparing you, you're the same. So there is nothing to judge it by. There's no standard. There's no number. There's no, like, you're you. I know this sounds weird, and man, if people still think I'm a symptom type, they're crazy. Because I don't think a symptom type would enjoy saying stuff like this. Because I enjoy it. I enjoy everything I'm saying right now. I love talks like this. But what I took away from this is that I can't judge someone else. I have to recognize their inherent worth as an individual. So that will be the first INFJ Trey talk. I don't know what it's called yet. I'm going to come up with the title. I'm going to make a playlist, and you guys are going to be able to watch more of these. I'll do one every week on Saturdays. I may do live calls so that you guys can put comments in. And but really, I want to see your comments. I want them to laugh. So I may just do regular videos. But all right. You guys should join our Slack if you guys want to talk to me some more, or if you guys want to learn more about MBTI or Enneagram. I'm actually learning a lot right now, and I've got a lot to do. I've been doing so much, I haven't even had time to learn. But you guys should join Slack. We always have really awesome discussions. Slack is like a family, and so you should join our Slack group, and you guys should definitely join our forum, and we can talk about stuff like that. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and post my videos in the forum so that you guys can comment on them and have discussions about it. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this podcast, whatever we're going to call it. I don't know. Whatever we're going to do with this video doesn't matter. But whatever you do, just make sure that you appreciate where you are in life. Make sure that you just do you, and that you understand that you have things to learn. You have things to go through. You have things to experience, and it's unique to itself, and you can't compare it to anyone else. You are going to experience your own life, and you may as well just get comfortable in your own skin, because who you are is who you are. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't change. It depends on who you are. Who is you? All right, I'm done, because it's getting really cheesy, I think, or it sounds cheesy, but it's a good call. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Come back and watch more. Go watch our cognitive function series. You should go watch my personal videos where I talk about Enneagram, and I'm doing tri-type now. I'm about to record my tri-type video probably right after I record this one. So sounds great. You guys have a great day. Ciao.